Hello, and welcome to Wrestling with Poetry, Kalamazoo, Michigan's premier wrestling and poetry podcast. Today, poet Jennifer Nelson and The River of Dead Wrestlers, Part 1. First, let's hear from Jennifer. Jennifer Nelson is the Hillis Bush Fellow at the Radcliffe Institute for Advanced Study and an art historian at the University of Delaware. They have published 3 books of poetry. The 4th, On the Way to the Paintings of Forest Robberies, won the 2023 Ottoline Prize and will be published with Fence later this year. They may or may not have requested a podcast episode about ravishing Rick Rude.
Hi, Wrestling with Poetry, my favorite podcast in the world. I'm here today to read the only poem I've ever written that has wrestling in it. And it's from my friend Nadia Chana, who is a brown settler woman here in North America, writing about the listening of white settlers to indigenous music. She herself is a singer. And one of the practices she's writing about is something called Singing to Rivers. Hopefully she publishes this soon. It's going to be amazing. But for Nadia, there's a struggle that I really admire. So here we go. It's different laws. Nadia, have you ever tried singing to your writing? It's different laws, like rivers, not even laws, patterns. The sense that nothing is artificial and our agency, while real and capable of fault by our own standards, also flows. Only your voice in the deep space of intimate expression can bring those patterns back, and your voice is never alone because of time, because of all the suffering yous who have wanted to wrestle with the wrongs of meaning, the historical twist, and our discontinuous ways of being with the land, how to be honest, if not right, from the outside. You are a chorus of wrestling moves and obstacles, and the song of them is a radical love. I just noticed that the title of that poem was obscured on the recording, so it's called It's Different Laws. That was that one. Next I'm going to read the poem that comes after it in my book manuscript so far, On the Way to the Paintings of Forest Robberies. It's a little wrestling-y. Information. I have come with a hammer to streets of glass. The great stores are under active armed guard. Don't you feel ghosts in the water humming? If something stops improving, must have been abandoned. LOL. Have you tasted rust when watching a train? Squeal dust, honest friction, a limit you can feel. Other shapes of the world inside the world. Turn over slowly in low boil gymnastic. I know the guards get me in the end. Tropes swing like trapezes in the chat. Personless and airless, though dark mode is still brighter than a body, I wish. We really could shoot rays with our eyes. We really could hear a loved one's sonar. The kinetic record obscure to the wrist.
Thank you, Jennifer. That was beautiful. And as for Rick Rude, yes, he does deserve his own episode. Rick Rude, also known as Rick Headfirst Facefirst Rude, was known for his presence of mind. Also for getting beaten up and then resuscitating himself, a move that would become known as the Rude Awakening. And he was also known for his flamboyant wrestling pants. You can look them up online. They had a woman's face on the back of them. That's provocative. Was that an acknowledgement of his feminine side, or was it saying something different? We can't know because we can't ask him. Because Rick is part of the river of prematurely dead wrestlers. Rick died at the age of 40 in 1999 of heart failure. Darkness for a time. But if the day-night cycle tells us anything, it won't be dark forever. What other wrestlers died too soon? Janet Wolf died of a brain hemorrhage after a match. The year was 1951, and she was 18 years old. Oro, a.k.a. Jesus Javier Hernandez, was 21 when he died of a head injury in a match in 1993. Jeff Peterson died in 2002 of leukemia. He was 21 years old. Chris Von Erich died in 1991 of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was 21 years old. Ray Celestial, a.k.a. Oscar Leonardo, died in 2017, struck by a hit-and-run driver. He was 22 years old. Hana Kimura died in 2020 at the age of 22. The verdict was suicide. Mass Transit, also known as Eric Kulas, died in 2002 from complications of gastric bypass surgery. Mirai, also known as Kiemi Kitagama, died in 2005, drowned in a bathtub, possibly suicide. They were 22 years old. Spider, aka Daniel Quirk, died in 2005 of a head injury in a match. He was 22 years old. Edward Beaupre, also known as Joseph Edward Beaupre Pichet, died in 1904 at the age of 23 from tuberculosis. Chris Cash, also known as Christopher Bauman Jr., died in 2005 in a motorcycle accident. They were 23 years old. Emiko Kado died in 1999 at the age of 23 from intercerebral bleeding in a match. Shane Shamrock, also known as Brian Hauser, died in 1998, shot by police. They were 23 years old. Mike Von Erich died in 1987. The verdict was suicide by drug overdose. They were 23 years old. Reed Flair died in 2013. They were 25 years old, and the cause was considered drug overdose. David Von Erich, also known as David Addison, died on February 1984 at the age of 25 from acute enteritis. Kazavubu, also known as Jimmy Banks, died in 1982 at the age of 26 from a heart attack during an operation. J.C. Bailey died in 2010 of intracranial aneurysm. They were 27 years old. Masakuzu Fukuda died in the year 2000 from a head injury in a match. They were 27 years old. Russ House, also known as Thomas Russell Haas, died in 2001 at the age of 27 from heart failure. Louis Spicolli, also known as Louis Mucciola, died in 1998. They were 27 years old, and the cause was a drug overdose. Art Barr died in 1994 at the age of 28. The reason, heart attack caused by drug overdose. Gino Hernandez, also known as Charles Wolfe Jr., died in 1986 at the age of 28. Possible drug overdose or murder. Ricky Lawless, also known as Medardo Leon Jr., died in 1988 at the age of 28. They were shot. Trent Acid, also known as Michael Verdi, died in the year 2010 from a drug overdose. They were 29 years old. Lance Cade, also known as Lance McNaught, died in 2010 at the age of 29. The cause, heart attack caused by drug overdose. Plum Mirico, also known as Mariko Umeda, died in 1997 from a head injury in a match. They were 29 years old. Bobby Shane, also known as Robert Schoenberger, died in 1975. They were 29 years old. The cause was drowning from a plane crash. Chris Taylor died in 1979. They were 29 years old, and the cause was cardiomyopathy. Clarence Whistler died in 1885 at the age of 29. Cause of death, pneumonia. This is part 1 of the River of Prematurely Dead Wrestlers. My source of information for this is Wikipedia. They have an entry called List of Premature Wrestling Deaths. Events. Independence Pro Wrestling returns to Ruggers Up and Under in Kalamazoo, Michigan this Sunday, February 18th. That will be, doors open at 5 p.m. and the matches begin at 6 p.m. And the name of this event is Furious. That's Sunday, February 18th. Ruggers Up and Under is located at 711 West Michigan Avenue in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I've been there. It's a great wrestling venue. They have an entire event tent. Also, I'm going to plug an event that I am participating in. It's a play by Queer Theater Kalamazoo. We're putting on a play called Shedding the Antlers, which is written by Eric Brahman. I will be one of the actors in it. I play a white-tailed deer. And this is going to happen from February 16th to 23rd. You can get your tickets through the website of queertheaterkalamazoo.org. And yes, get your tickets on the website. That would be queertk.org. It will be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 16th to 18th. Friday and Saturday, it's at 7:30 p.m. and Sunday, it's at 2 p.m. And then next week, it's going to be Thursday and Friday only. That's the 22nd and 23rd, both times at 7:30. It's about being your true self. And I have to say, I'm not talking about myself. I'm in this play with some marvelous actors, and I just would love to see them appreciated. And as for poetry, please keep coming to that open mic at Satellite Records if you're in the mood. It's 5:30 on Thursdays. Call if you want to just be extra sure that it's happening. 269-381-0218, and that's 808 Southwest Nedge Avenue in downtown. No, it's not downtown. A little south of downtown. Well, that was a heavy episode, but I hope that you take the light with the dark. You can't really have one without the other. Have a good week. Next week, The River Part 2, and another poet.